Welcome to Skip the Ads. This episode is going to be about Robin Williams. We're going to talk about his life and general overall topics, his movies, that sort of thing. With me is my co-host, as always, Ben.
G'day, g'day.
And our special guest today, Giffo.
Oi, g'day, love. Mate,
So-
we're ready for it.
It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, for sure. Basic overview of Robin Williams. If you don't know who Robin Williams is, let's be honest, everybody knows who Robin Williams is. Pretty much started his career on Mork and Mindy.
Yep.
That was pretty much his TV career, his film career. It started from there. He's done plays, movies, pretty much everything you possibly think of. He even sang in Aladdin.
He did, and he was the fruit bat in Fern Gully.
Holy
He was
crap,
too.
he was!
Really?
Yeah, Batty.
I don't know if I've seen that. Heard
You
of
haven't
it.
seen Fern Gully?
Definitely heard of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, my childhood was a waste.
Yes, that is a movie I've watched.
Well, it's a good one, mate. It's about the rainforest, and it's an Australian one too.
Oh, well, I know what it is,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, it is Aussie, isn't it?
Yeah,
it eventually
Maybe
got
I have
adapted
seen
in-
it. Maybe I haven't. I don't know.
It eventually had a remake called Avatar.
Yeah, 100%. They all got blue.
So that's a general overview of Robin Williams. If you've never heard of him, he's probably one of our favorite actors of all time. Definitely one of mine. Probably just under Brendan Fraser for me. Just under Brendan Fraser.
100%.
But Giffo, you absolutely adore Robin Williams,
Oh,
right?
yeah, and not to be confused with a few syllable slip-ups to Robbie Williams, the singer. That's what
Yes.
someone was slipped up today. But yeah, no, Robin Williams is excellent. He's like full-blown energy. He's exciting. Next level. He's awesome.
Almost as much energy as you see you have.
Oh, no way, yeah. Doesn't even come close. Definitely.
So everybody, like you guys know that Mork and Mindy was his first big break, but where did, like, Brandon, you probably know where that started. Like, what TV shows did that spin off from?
Mork and Mindy, actually, it spun off from Happy Days. So he was doing stuff around the place. He was doing real comedy circuits, and I remember there was one interview I was listening to with Robin, and he was really he was struggling in the early days to try and captivate an audience. And he said one of his first gigs, he went up on stage and he just heard glasses clinking and everyone was just standing there stunned and weren't really paying attention. So he decided everything had to be real quick fire and he didn't stay on a topic too long and everything was real just poof.
Can you
and an
imagine
explosion.
if you were one of those people now? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I swear I saw that guy. Like,
He just
he wasn't funny back then, though.
exactly right.
Like, he's gotten a lot better with his career, hasn't he?
Thank goodness. Yeah, and that's it. And then somehow some bloke, I think there was this bloke and he was a producer on Happy Days, come and watched him do a gig and he'd heard all about him and he was causing a stir once he started with that. And then they cast him on Happy Days as a alien.
I will bring this up. One of the funniest parts of that story is he wasn't the original person cast for Mork and Mindy in Happy Days.
Wasn't he?
No, there was actually another actor that was cast originally, but it was just
Did he turn out to be anyone famous?
A bit ashamed
no,
of himself.
nobody famous. Like, why he didn't do the Mork role properly?
Well, maybe he could have gone on to another role. Maybe he became Bruce Willis.
Sounds like it didn't get recast. Happy Days.
I'm sorry.
Went on to bigger and better things.
I'm sorry. Are you trying to tell me that Bruce Willis would have even auditioned for a role like Mork?
Bruce Willis.
He wouldn't have had to dress up. He's just ready for it.
He just looks like an alien straight from the get-go.
And maybe that was it. Maybe Bruce Willis was a comedy actor and he was so burned by not getting the Mork role, he became an action star.
He's like, screw it. I'm just like, let's move
Yeah.
So he originally got there was another actor. He was horrible for the role. Apparently the script for that episode was just ridiculous and so over the top that nobody could pull it off. And then as you said, Robin Williams got brought in and they were like,
Unbelievable.
okay, this can actually be done. It just needed that very specific flair.
Yeah.
And just a quick fact about that. You probably already know, Bradley, don't you? That with the sitcom, it's a sitcom setup, isn't it? Doing Mork and Mindy when they eventually started filming that, where they've got a live audience. They usually had two or three cameras. They had a problem because Robin Williams is so out there and he's all over the place and he doesn't stand still. They actually had to bring in a third or a fourth camera.
It was one of the few productions that actually had to have multiple, like more cameras than normal because they just couldn't capture what he was doing.
But now that's actually a thing that they've always got that extra camera for sitcoms that they never had before, just because of him. He's
So
changed.
he
the
was
life
an
of
innovator
sitcoms.
both for comedy and for how it's shot.
Ahead of his time. He's an inspiration.
he
talking
was.
about like what he innovated and that sort of thing. We'll actually talk about Aladdin then, because he did the voice role of Genie. No matter how much like he didn't want to be marketed as this big role and that sort of thing, that was actually one of the first roles that a celebrity ever did voice acting for. And he actually revolutionized that by being that first celebrity. He just ushered in this whole new wave of celebrities doing voice acting, because it was very much everybody like voice actors were voice actors, normal actors were normal actors. He came in and he was just like, well, I can do both.
Yeah.
So he was kind of the first scene stealer then for those movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was Donkey and Shrek, and I guess Robin Williams would have, started that with Aladdin. Because
And like Mushu in Mulan, like Eddie Murphy.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But
Well, you're talking about Donkey and Mushu, the same actor. Yeah.
yeah, but they are, aren't they? It's true. Well, yeah, but
Eddie Murphy.
Jeez, he did well. But let alone being an actor, like comedians weren't even something that really did that sort of thing back then either, were they? So that was just awesome.
So yeah, it's very interesting that like you're saying that he innovated like the way that sitcoms were filmed. He innovated the way that voice acting was done, and it just kind of proves that Robin Williams was ahead of his time in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So what we'll discuss is Brandon. Well, I'll ask you first. What was your favorite Robin Williams film?
Okay, Robin Williams film. It's tough because he does both serious and he does the comedy.
Well, just from the get-go, like let's separate that out. Like he did dramas and he did comedies. Like what was your favorite drama film of his then?
Okay, so favorite drama is very tough between Good Will Hunting and then like Dead Poet Society.
Of course, yeah.
I actually think Dead Poet Society probably takes that one. But then there was I was just thinking of his 1 hour photo. Have you seen 1 hour photo?
Me and Ben a few days ago were actually discussing that one, and we're like, oh yeah, that one's kind of creepy.
That was the left field one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was very different.
Because it's so serious, but it stays with you, that performance. Like, he really pulled that off. But favourite all-time Robin Williams film, I don't even know. Maybe something like one of his newer ones, like Old Dogs or something.
Oh really?
Oh,
You're
really?
gonna go for the new one.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wow.
controversy.
Yeah, I was
Get
not-
out.
I was-
Leave right now, mate.
I was definitely not expecting a new one.
Yeah, I was expecting an
Like,
older, like
definitely
90s style Robin
Yeah.
Williams.
Classic,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're all good.
They are.
Like one of his, what's the doctor?
Patch Adams?
Yeah, Patch Adams.
Yeah.
Those sort of ones are really good.
Oh, I like
He's
it.
done so many inspirational ones too, where they're happy. They're a different style. They're happy, but they've got a meaning.
Well, yeah, because like most of his films always had some form of like inspirational meaning behind it, like Mrs.
Yeah.
Doubtfire and
Oh,
those
yeah.
like those classic
Funny
films
one.
of his. Ben, what was your favorite Robin Williams film?
Yeah, I was thinking about it before, and I'm a bit like Giffo. I can't split it. It's Jumanji and it's Hook.
Really?
I haven't
The two
seen
of
either
those.
Yes. You haven't seen those two films?
No.
Wow. Okay, to tell you honestly, I'm going to say that I was tossing up between Hook.
Yeah.
And Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Like that's like drama, Dead Poets Society, comedy, Hook. Those would be my two favorite Robin Williams films of all time. The fact that you haven't seen Hook does surprise me.
He plays Peter Pan, doesn't he?
He does.
Yes.
He does.
The older version of Peter Pan.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got the gist of it.
You got
but-
the gist of it, yeah. But like, I definitely recommend watching that film for sure.
And Hook is a Spielberg one as well. So it's not just a
Oh,
great
really?
performance from Robin Williams. It's a great movie
Yeah.
overall.
It had
Jeez.
what? I can't think of her name right now. The
Tinkerbell, is that
yeah, Tinkerbell.
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, and then
Dustin Hoffman was Hook.
yeah, and then you had Wendy was played by. She was the witch in Harry Potter. She was one of the professors. I can't think of her name right now.
It's like Professor McGonagall.
Yeah, it was actually Professor McGonagall.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name? I know her name.
Yeah.
I was just listening to her the other day talk about. She had the funniest story. So she had a little 9-year-old boy come up to her in the street, and he goes, yeah, like he'd seen her on Harry Potter. And he's like, "Can you really turn into a cat?" And she just looked down at him and said, "Pull yourself together, child."
And then just like winks at him and goes, Yes, I can.
And then just turns into a cat. Mauls the kid,
just does it.
runs away.
Everybody's
No
like,
questions
what just
asked.
happened?
That's just epic.
So like what? You would be tossing up between Hook and Jumanji.
Yes. Well, I think for me, because Robin Williams as a kid, I don't think there'd be a kid who watches movies.
Robin Williams as a kid?
No, us as a kid.
Oh, watching Robin
That's when
Williams.
you start to get your appreciation for Robin Williams, because he does all those, fantastic kids and family movies.
Yeah.
And that's when it sort of clicks that, hey, this guy's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one from left field. Does anybody remember Jack?
Yeah, I remember
Yes.
Jack.
Yeah.
That was an amazing film.
Yeah.
That I was like, when I was a kid, I didn't really quite understand what was happening, but like growing up with it, I was like, holy crap. This is actually a really like inspiring film.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, Jack is where he ages really, really quickly. So he's in like 4th grade at school, and he's basically adult Robin Williams.
Yeah, he's Robin
Yeah.
Williams.
But he's got the mindset of
Yeah.
a kid, basically.
So, Robin Williams.
And his body clock's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So he's aging like 4 times as fast. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think he's graduating high school, or is it something
Yeah,
like that?
and he's
like
an old
super
fella.
old.
Yeah.
And he has that super inspiring speech to all his fellow students, and you're just like, wow, okay, I guess I'll keep trying. As like tears are streaming down your face, and you're like, yeah, okay.
It's just like the reverse of Benjamin Button, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just had to slip your name in there, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the plug, Giff.
No worries, it's what we in for.
Another one that I would probably pull in from left field that like not a lot of people have probably talked about much is a movie called Toys. Yeah, Toys.
Oh,
I haven't-
Toys.
Oh, it didn't get good reviews from what I've heard.
No, Toys did not get good reviews at all. It was probably one of the weirdest Robin Williams films I have ever watched.
That's a really old one, Toys, isn't it? Like we're talking early 90s.
Early 90s, 100%
Really
early
early,
90s.
yeah.
And that had like Michael Gambon. It had LL Cool J. Well, I'm pretty sure it had LL Cool J. Wait, I gotta look this up. But legit, it was one of those. It had like Joan Cusack. It had so many famous actors in it, but just kind of fell so short. It was like,
Rubbish.
what did I just watch?
Rubbish.
Well, Michael Gambon plays some weird general in the army who takes over the toy store after his brother, who is Robin Williams' father, passes away. But then he turns it all into army toys that are actually going to be used in combat in wars.
Ah.
Jeez, it sounds like Small Soldiers.
It does. It does. But then there's like this random like worm slug creature that's in a pit. That's a robot. And then Joan Cusack, who's his sister, turns out being a robot. And
And this
Most
wasn't
upsetting
popular. This didn't do well. What?
You know, someone asked him, they go, what were you thinking doing that movie? And he was just like, oh, I was thinking about the paycheck. But he's like, it makes a nice paycheck. But also, I think the director, who's the director? Because he purely did that film just to get directed by that bloke. as a
Barry
stepping stone.
Levinson.
Yeah, Barry Levinson. That's the name.
So Barry Levinson was one of those directors. Toys. So everybody knows, Toys was actually was his passion project, but nobody wanted to make it. He kept writing the script over and over
poor
again,
bloke.
and he just wanted to make this film. But he
That was
made
his
all these,
passion project.
he made all these amazing films like early on his career, and then finally he was like, oh, I've got the money, let's make Toys finally. And everybody's like, you sure about that? Maybe.
He should have just
At least
gone the
everyone
stop
talks
motion
about it.
track and done it with actual toys. That's what I would have done
That's called Toy Story.
later on.
But yeah, like back to Robin Williams. Like he had such a diverse career, as we were discussing, like from drama to comedy to drama to comedy to drama to comedy. It's very interesting, an actor of that sort of like caliber being able to draw from two different areas so easily. Like Giffo, you probably know this more than most people because of your fandom for him. That like you would see him in something like Good Will Hunting, which was such a like inspiring film, but he played that drama role. I don't think he did a single bit of comedy in that.
Not really. Like, there'd be like the odd little sarcastic comment, but it wasn't comedy. It was just like, it wasn't him being him. It was just, he was purely that character.
Yeah, and it's like he can just take what's on the script page and turn it into something gold. So from there, like as you were talking, like his career, like what would you say about his career? Like was it just always high and just stayed high the entire time, or would you say that he had drops in like career highlights and career lowlights?
Well, you can't be at the top forever. And I mean, Robin Williams, for a very long time.
He could try.
Yeah. And, he did his different movies that were, not mainstream hits and, a little bit more serious, and then back to comedy. And then, probably did a few for the paycheck.
Yeah. did his early days, he was into drugs and things like that. Did that have an effect on his career, do you know? Like they sort of just...
to tell you honestly, I think that impacted his career in a good way.
Yeah.
Skyrocketed it.
Yeah. Just like, hey, you doing drugs? Okay, come do drugs with us.
Yeah, no, I can't remember a time when Robin Williams wasn't doing,
kind of on top
popular.
of it.
Yeah.
And he like had such a, like as I said, like such a diverse career that he wasn't just in movies. He was doing TV shows. He was doing like stage plays and that sort of stuff. And he even Aladdin, he could sing.
Yeah.
Like he did actually have that ability. But like, what do you think would take for somebody of his caliber to be able to switch from those sort of roles? Like, do you think it would have taken a toll on him?
Well, isn't that what happened to him when it sort of, as he was getting towards the end of his career, he was sort of getting a little bit, tired of, having to be on all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
if you notice that in all of his interviews, he'd always talk about how people come up to him in the street and they always they expect actors, especially him, because he's so full on, and they come up to him, and one lady in the airport come up and just poked him in the side and said, "Be zany," and he's like, "Oh, like that's just like
that's not
going up to a plumber and telling him to plumb on the spot." He's not going to do it.
There's one plumber who just pulls out a wrench and just like, I'm ready to go.
Ready to roll. He's excited.
But like you see some of the behind the scenes footage of all his films and that sort of stuff. And you could kind of see that there was something happening like behind the scenes. Like he was doing a lot of drugs at the time. But like, even like he had to take a couple of years off of doing anything after he had that weird heart attack, didn't he? Like he had to have full heart bypass and all that sort of stuff.
Got a cow valve put in.
Yeah, he did actually have a cow valve. He even mentions that in one of his his comedy specials. I think like weapons of self-destruction. Did you guys ever actually see his stand-up career? Like, see any of his stand-up stuff?
Little bits and pieces.
Yeah, he's like his stand-up stuff was like he let loose in that stuff, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
he didn't hold back. He was full on.
He definitely in this day, like with all the social justice warriors and that sort of stuff happening at the moment, he may have had a little bit of backlash in some of the jokes he made.
Yeah,
but to tell you honestly, I think all of it was definitely in jest. Like he's one of those sort of guys that you can't take offense from.
Well, like that's your job when you're a comic. Your job is to make people laugh, and sometimes the best laughs are when you're offended. You go, "Why am I laughing about this? I shouldn't be laughing about this." And you go, "But because it's funny and because it's a joke."
Yes, 100%. Brandon.
Yeah.
So you would have watched some of his stand up and that sort of stuff. Was there any specific like time in his career that you would say was probably his peak?
I reckon I don't know, his stand-up stuff I really enjoyed, but I thought he was at his peak, especially when he did like a lot of his interviews, and he was doing a lot of stand-up at the time, but when he went on Parkinson and big interviews like that, this was early 2000s.
Yeah.
And from going back and watching stuff of him, that was when he was really at his all-time high. But just because doing the early 2000s, and you were just talking about how he could be a little bit politically incorrect, like 9/11 had just happened and he went on Parkinson, and one of the jokes he was doing is like, get on the plane, oh, what's that? That's a gun. Oh, get on the plane. He was talking about how the security stuff had all just tightened up so much, and that's what it was like before. And he does all of this stuff, and 9/11 has just happened, and he makes jokes about it and things like that. So he does take the mickey out of stuff, but that also is important for people to sit back and loosen up a little bit. That's
I guess it comes down to one of those things, like, you know how some people get, when they get super nervous, they start to laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the ultimate guy for that. You're like starting to get to that point where you're like, I don't know whether I should be laughing at this.
Yeah, I know.
But like, just in general, as a person, like, did you guys hear about any of these stories behind the scenes with Robin Williams and like what he would do for his co-stars and that sort of stuff? No? Yeah, Brendan, what did you hear?
Well, there was one occasion where this bloke was feeling really down. I can't remember who it was, but I think he was going through depression or something. And Robin sent him this bicycle, and it was this bike with the just random. It's because Robin really liked to ride. He used to always call himself a bike sexual, and he'd ride his bike all around the place, all through San Francisco. But anyway, so this guy's feeling down, so he got the most ridiculous, I think it was girls' bikes, streamers, and then he added stuff to it. So it was the most insane, absurd bike, and this guy walked out of his house, and that was a gift there. But like just stuff like that, he'd do ridiculous things all the time.
Well, yeah, like even just on like a note, like with Mrs. Doubtfire, one of the girls, I can't remember her name right now. I had it here. Lydia Hillard, who was one of Robin Williams' daughters in the film. Mrs. Doubtfire. She was 14 at the time. I guess that was the oldest sister.
Yeah, I think the youngest one was way younger than 14.
Yeah, wasn't that like Matilda?
Yeah, it was Matilda. Yeah.
So she was actually in school at that stage, and she had to be pulled out to make the film and that sort of stuff. And one of the things that happened was her school, while she was away, because they couldn't keep up with her special schooling that she would need to be like on set, off set, on set, they actually just kicked her out of the school. They're just like, no, go away. And Robin Williams wrote this amazing letter to the school going, you need this girl here. Like, she's one of the most dedicated human beings. She will work no matter how hard, like, you ask her. She should be at your school. And they just like, they actually framed the letter he sent, but still kicked her out of the school.
Oh, you're joking. Oh, jeez.
It's just
That's
like
what we would do.
It's just like, here's the signature. Okay, bye.
Bye.
But I think what one of the things that she said was, Lydia actually is I think the name of the actual character, just by
so it's not the name of the actor.
Bloke's looking at Lydia.
Lisa Jacob.
Good name.
I think that's a name. I think that's actually her name. But she actually said that going into the industry, which she knows was such a backstabbing industry like Hollywood in general, just to know that there was people like Robin Williams who would actually stand up for you, like have your back in those sort of times. You really want that to be there, I guess. Like, just know that there were people in this horrible industry that could still stand tall.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams, let's be honest, he just is that sort of guy.
Yeah.
He was definitely going to keep his own, like, make sure that people continued on and did what they were meant to do.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I want to ask Ben, and hopefully you, Giffo, is a question that like comes back to our running joke of Brendan Fraser, one of my favorite actors of all time. Would there have been a Brendan Fraser film or a Robin Williams film or something like that you would have liked to see them do together?
Yeah. Well, because you would have had a good father-son duo, I reckon, between
exactly,
them. Right?
100%.
So I would have liked to have seen maybe, a Last Crusade kind of dynamic between them. So it was like, Sean Connery and Harrison have Robin Williams and Brendan Fraser.
Would you have liked to see like let's say they made like a Last Crusade film, like a comedy version of it?
Yeah.
But with Robin Williams and like Brendan Fraser, like just going off on this like crazy adventure together.
Yeah.
Maybe even in like World War II, not like Nazi occupied.
Could you imagine Robin Williams like in Germany during World War II time?
Oh, jeez.
That would be an awesome film.
The war.
He'd just be like, "Yep, okay, let me talk to Hitler." You can't talk to him. I'm gonna talk to Hitler. Giffo, is there anything that you would have liked to see Robin Williams and Brendan Fraser be able to pull off? Remembering like he did Encino Man, he did George of the Jungle, that sort of stuff. Brendan Fraser, and then like Robin Williams, obviously doing any type of role he wanted.
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I would love to see Robin Williams in George of the Jungle situation because I think that would be funny.
Wait, like as George
Not
of the
George
Jungle?
of the Jungle.
I was like, that would have been quite an interesting.
No, Brendan Fraser still is in. But even if Robin Williams played the role of that bloke that is on absolutely everything, his name eludes me. But he's the bad guy in it, and he's just
I know.
Is he the husband or whatever?
Yeah, he's the husband in the
love interest.
Lyle, I think his name is in George.
Yeah, Lyle, that was it.
How funny, but Robin could be just some character they could have pulled off in that movie.
Well, going back to that father-son dynamic, it would have been kind of funny because in the intro to George of the Jungle, they point out that there was a plane crash and George was raised by apes. That's how he became. What if it just turned out like the father also survived? And he'd been living in the jungle for the last.
They meet up
because he was so hairy as well. You could have had a good joke.
It would have literally been Jumanji, like when he first comes out of the board game. Yeah. Him just be like, "Hello."
He pulls off a gorilla well, doesn't he? Like, did you hear that story about him with Coco the gorilla?
Actually, that's something I did want to bring up. Because unfortunately, Coco the gorilla, I think, recently passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but. There was like just Coco and Robin Williams together. It's like one of the funniest videos I've actually ever seen. Brendan, do you want to discuss it more?
Yeah, oh yeah, like Coco the gorilla, she's basically this gorilla that they've taught to sign. And so she knows so many different signs and she can communicate with the handler or trainer or whoever is sort of sharing that with her. But yeah, so she's incredibly intelligent, as you could imagine, because she's a gorilla. And Robert is the hairiest person on the Robin is like the hairiest person on the face of the Robert's a better name. And I just thought I'd adjust it for him.
It's been Robert this whole time.
It's better than Robert. And so he's got like the hairiest arms, and he used to even say like he had to get his back waxed for a film, and they said like the ladies asked if they could take a break when they were doing it.
Oh wow.
But he's so hairy. But he goes in, meets this gorilla, and what do you see that whole video?
I haven't watched the entire thing of it.
But it is funny because basically what happens is it all leads up to this one scenario because this gorilla was really interested in him and he has such charisma.
Well, she was probably like, "Oh, a mate."
Yeah, that's exactly it. So she looks at him, she starts picking at his hairs, and then she's looking at his hairs and she signs to the trainer to get Robin to lift up his arms. And then
that's a recipe for disaster.
That's exactly because she reached out and grabbed both of his nipples, and that the scenario is lifting from there. And then she actually signed that. She started grabbing Robin and started pulling him. And there's this back room that if she goes into, then the trainer can't go in there, and they cannot help him. She grabs Robin and starts pulling him, and the lady's just like, "Coco, no, Mr. Williams does not want to play bump bump," and all this. So they had to get him out of there.
Oh wow. So really, Robin Williams could pretty much have any lady he wanted.
Yeah,
whether it be human or gorilla.
Well, that is the funniest part of the interview. Is I just remembered that he says at the end, he goes, he's like, "Oh, I just wanted the bragging rights, like to be able to walk into a pub and be like, there's a guy comes up to me and he goes, I once got wild with a midget," and be like, "I was with a gorilla."
Everybody would just literally be like, "You win." We'll just wrap up the episode there. It's been half an hour, Giffo, if you hadn't even noticed.
Truth, really?
Yeah.
Far out.
So this has been the episode about Robin Williams and how much we've enjoyed all his movies and that over the years. This was Skip the Ads. You can find us on Spotify now, on BurnLight.net, which is the new website we have. My name's Bradley.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Giffo.
This was Skip the Ads, and thanks for joining us.
You beauty.
Thank you.